And now here again is Grace Imathiu. Grace, your compelling message on living the prodigal life. I'm fascinated with how you managed to nuance the definition of the word prodigal that we usually think of as a pejorative term to mean, in a positive sense, abundant or bounteous, that helps shape your vision of how to live. Tell us how all this fits into your own history and journey.
Thank you, Lydia. I want to hear Jesus tell me that it's not being wasteful on myself, to live a life where I'm gracious and wasteful in my forgiveness, not on me, but on others, especially those who are different from me, who look different, who believe different, who are different, how to be generous in my forgiveness and in my kindness.
Your name, Grace, was so appropriately given to you by your wonderful parents. I must ask you, Grace, how was it growing up as the child of a prominent bishop in Kenya?
My father is a retired Methodist minister who served as bishop of the Methodist Church in Kenya. So I grew up in a Christian home, and the wonderful thing about that is I grew up in a generous environment, a prodigious environment, surrounded by Christians who loved me into becoming the Christian and disciple of Jesus that I am today.
You say that as a child, you awakened every morning wishing that every day was Sunday.
Yes,
Just help us absorb what it was like to worship in the church you grew up in.
Church, for me, church was not a boring place where we just sat and were lectured to. Church was alive. It is where all of us were a piece of the jigsaw puzzle that made it happen. Were you a child or an adult, you belonged. And so for us, Sunday morning was one of the most exciting hours of our week.
Where everyone was part of the worship.
Certainly, yes.
We just have 30 seconds left, but tell me, Words of Fire, Spirit of Grace, your recent publications.
A collection of sermons preached around the world on especially this generous God whose words are of fire and a spirit of grace.
Well, we've learned something very important about living the prodigal life from you today, Grace Imathiu. In our final moment, Timothy was the baby brother who died.
Yes.
And how did you find grace in that?
To know that God is our God both on this side and on the other side of the grave.
Thank you so much, Grace.